Mark here again. Y'all know how I do, cooking the books, bringing the information. I want to talk about being able to control not only yourself. In my last video I talked about self-control, but when you learn how to control yourself, you control situations around you. It's vitally important that you understand that if God puts you in a position of authority or leadership or some kind of supervisory position, the most important thing is to understand first is to center yourself, be able to control yourself, and in so doing you can control situations around you. When you're in a position of leadership, you got to understand that on a molecular level, molecules, it's called random motion of molecules, right? Our molecules randomly move. They move sporadically, spontaneity, and haphazardly. So our molecules are constantly in motion with no orderliness, with no organization. So when you take that, when you understand that principle, and you can apply that to the workforce, the workroom, the business room, the conference calls, the meetings, your personal relationships, you'll understand that it's natural for people to become chaotic. I talked about internal energy, isolated systems, closed system, open systems. Once an inducer is anything that causes a stimulant. Once an inducer gets inside of a system, how it changes the dynamic equilibrium of that system. So the dynamics get thrown into chaos or entropy. You can measure the amount of entropy there is in a system once there's an inducer effect. I talked about that in a few of my videos. I say all that to say that life is going to happen, things are going to change. Life is a series of unpredictability, vagaries, mercurial circumstances that you cannot always predict. But what I'm going to say next is somewhat contradictory, because if you study Galileo, Einstein, and these great minds, some of their teachings that the universe is a composition of bodies that move with clockwork predictability. How can the universe move with predictability, and in one breath, and in the other breath we say that the world is a series of unpredictability, randomness, chaotic disorder, so on and so forth, all these different scientific teachings. The reality is both can be exclusively true. The universe does behave in predictable ways. The sun always rises. The sun rises, right? Every morning you wake up, the sun rises and the sun sets. The moon comes out at night, the moon goes down. The tides come in, tides go out, right? So there is some predictability-ness. And then there's randomness, right? I just told you guys about the molecules and random. If you study Gregor Mendeleev, which is he's considered like the father of genetics, and he talks about random assortment, right? How our chromosomes recombined in a random way, right? In terms of traits. So we see both theories in reality, and both can be true. Both can be exclusively true. Both can coexist, or both are existential. So the important thing to understand is that we can have balance and we can have imbalance. You and I, our purpose is to be the anchor, or be the center of gravity, be the nucleus. The nucleus is what keeps everything together within the atom. So our job is to learn to be the nucleus, where we can bring stability to a disorganized and unstable or instability. We are to bring stability to instability, order to disorder, rationale to chaos, calm to not calm. Couldn't think of a synonym quick enough. But the important thing is, though, that you are able to control yourself, and then you can control others around you in terms of leadership, in terms of business negotiations. When you're negotiating a deal, sometimes it can be very chaotic, very tense. Emotions are running wild. things might not go your way. You know, the deal might fall apart. You might be, you know, it can be very stressful when there's high stakes, when the stakes are high, or even medium stakes. It all depends, right? What your definition of high stakes is. If it's your last dollar, that could be high stakes for you. So the important thing, though, is to learn to be able to monitor your own thoughts, regulate yourself, and then in so doing, you can regulate others around you. Because remember, random motion is our molecules haphazardly, constantly in motion. And that means as human beings, that's how we are. That's how our DNA that's how we're wired on a microscopic scale, to always be haphazardly in motion. That's why you tell someone something and they get, you know, you could tell someone some bad news and you realize they take that energy on and they become chaotic. They get nervous. They start, you know, just panicking. People panic when they hear some kind of negative news. But you have to be the one to learn to control others' emotions for them, because people can't control their own emotions. And you'll see that in life often. A lot of people cannot control their own emotions. So you have to learn to first control your own emotions, and then in so doing, you can guide. You can't control theirs, but you can guide it, because you can never control anyone. You can, like I said, we have a hard time controlling ourselves. So it's very difficult to control someone else. That's my little daughter waking up in the back, y'all. Y'all see her back there sleeping? She about to wake up. So daddy got to go do daddy stuff. Till next time, y'all know what I'm going to be doing, cooking these books, taking care of this little girl back here, and bringing y'all information. Later.